This is Brandon Rahbar, your host for today, and this is a dispatch from Daily Thunder. Every story, every game, every day. Welcome to the Daily Thunder podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Rahbar, beat writer for dailythunder.com. I'm joined by Daily Thunder contributor Ryan Woods. Ryan, aren't you pumped to be back talking about a Thunder basketball game, even if it's only a preseason game?
We're back. What's up, everybody? This is fun.
This is fun, and it's fun because the Thunder won, and these may be hard to come by this season, but so far, this 2020-2021 season, the Thunder are 1-0, 121-108 versus the San Antonio Spurs. And this was a short-handed Thunder team without Al Horford, Darius Bazley, Lou Dort, Trevor Ariza. I don't know if we can count him, though, because I don't know if he's going to play it all this season. I don't think he's going to unless he gets traded to a contender. But the Thunder were short-handed, and check out who the Spurs played with. This is a team that's going to try to compete for the playoffs. Probably unsuccessfully, but they had Aldridge, they had Rudy Gay, they had DeRozan, they had Murray, they had Lyles, Patty Mills, Walker. I mean, they had their guys, and the Thunder won by double digits. What's your overall impressions of this game tonight, Ryan?
I'm very excited that they got a win, and I will be bummed if this continues into the regular season. This was a surprise. This game started off really sloppy, and I thought this game would continue to go that way. But the Thunder just turned it on and started hitting. I mean, it started with Muscala getting hot early, and that kind of bled into everybody's game. Everybody was hitting shots. Frank Jackson is, I said it multiple times at my phone screen, is a bucket.
Yeah.
Not know he was just so fluid and good. So the young guys were awesome. It was just a lot of fun to see him on the court again, and of course they got the win. That was pretty impressive. And the Spurs, like you're saying, played their guys and got mowed over, really.
Yeah, and this is Popovich. This is the Spurs full strength, and the Thunder were the better team tonight. Now, I think this is a couple of factors here. The Spurs aren't going to be very good this year. Yeah, they're going to try to make the playoffs. They still got Aldridge and DeRozan and some decent role players, and they have Pop. But I don't think anybody expects them to make the playoffs. That said, this is still a full-strength team who's trying versus a team that's supposed to be tanking that was very short-handed. You could argue that Horford is the Thunder's second-best player behind Shai, and that Dort and Bazley are probably maybe the fourth and fifth best players behind maybe George Hill. You would lump in maybe at the third best spot if you wanted to. Anyways, a lot of the best players that are going to be getting heavy rotation minutes were out. Now, I do think that the Thunder shot an unsustainable amount from three-point range. They're going to face a lot better competition, and I think once you get past the preseason, the defense will probably step up. That said, I do think there's a lot to be said for the underrated talent on this Thunder team. Shai really did look good in that first quarter. He didn't play the second half and didn't play much in the second quarter, but he looked legit in the first quarter. You could argue that maybe Shai's a better player than LaMarcus Aldridge and DeRozan at this point. So maybe Shai was the best player on the court tonight. That always favors the team when you have the best player. And I think that these young guys, just the hunger and the effort type of ball that they were playing, sharing the ball, space and pace, I think that the Thunder are a high effort group again. You know, we talked a lot about like Chris Paul and Donovan and Adams and Gallo and Schroeder kind of setting the culture, this winning culture, this high effort culture. I don't think that's going to go away with this team.
Yeah. The thing that stood out to me was that we looked surprisingly cohesive given the limited amount of time they've had together. These guys are all seemingly all brand new to one another. So to see them playing so scrappy, like you're saying, high effort, a lot of the little things they were doing well, and they're sharing the ball. The pace was incredibly fast, and it seems like that's going to be their calling card, is to just get up and go. I was going to ask you, Shai looks bigger to me. He looks physically, he just looks different than he did even a couple months ago.
Yep.
And if his physicality goes up and even another level than it already was, he's going to be a problem. And the way that he was even getting into the lane, I think it was that first Muscala three, he got deep in the lane and sent it back to him. There were things in his game tonight that reminded me so much of Chris, and it was kind of like a wink at everything that he had learned last year. So really enjoyed seeing that. And Shai, yeah, he just looks bigger and more physically ready to take on the workload that he'll have this year.
He's absolutely added some muscle. He brought that up in one of his media calls. So he talked about you thought so from the pictures that have been released, but watching him in game, I think he's absolutely added some weight, some muscle, and that is going to help him. And he is a cerebral player. You talk to him, you can tell he's an intelligent guy, and I think that he kind of soaked up like a sponge all those little lessons that Chris Paul taught him last year. And now that he's been given the keys, he's going to get to show off what he's learned a little bit, both physically and mentally. Like you said, like driving into the lane, forcing that double team, kicking it out to Muscala. We haven't seen much of that with him. Part of that's maybe that wasn't in his game. Maybe it was because Chris Paul and Dennis Schroeder were there and they had the ball so much. But this is his team now, and I'm excited to see what he can do. And this was a good first showing as far as him being the lead guy. We only really got one quarter of it, but in that first quarter, he looked great. He scored 11 points. He did it efficiently. He found guys. He was playmaking, and he looked like a young rising star that we all think he can be. Now, speaking of young players that were impressive, we've gone all this way, and we haven't brought up the story of the game really was Teo Maledon and Poku. Those two guys, the two rookies, Maledon was great from the tip. As soon as he stepped on the court, he got 2 free throws in his first few seconds, and he didn't let up. He scored 20 points, led the Thunder. He assisted. He would have had more assists. He had a lot of nice passes. He read the court so well, but some guys missed some shots. He was rebounding. He looks poised. He does not look like a 19-year-old rookie. And then Poku, he started off really rough. He had some bad shots. He had some bad turnovers. He looked lost. He looked kind of like a deer in headlights. But in that fourth quarter, he settled down. He ended up scoring double-digit points. He hit 4 threes, I think.
Yeah, he hit 4.
Yeah, he hit 4 threes, and he settled down. And at the end, the Spurs got close. The Thunder led throughout. They got close, but there in the last 2 minutes, the ones that iced it for the Thunder were the two rookies, Poku and Maledon.
And if I had told you before the game, Pokuševski would go 4 for 8 from 3, we probably would have been stoked and probably would have thought that's the story as far as from the Thunder's angle. That's the story of the game. But he was horrific in the first 3.5 quarters. If you are on like Team Tank this season, you want to see a ton of this kid.
Yeah.
He's going to be a lot of like he's entertaining no matter what because he's 7'2", and he's running around screens. Like he's entertaining to watch whether it's good or bad. But the Thunder are, if they're going to lose games, it's going to be because they're playing these young guys a ton, and we saw it tonight. He's just like he's so physically like behind, and that's like that was to be expected. He's younger than a lot of guys playing college this year. He is such a work in progress. He is such a project long term. And that was, I mean, we saw pretty much the entire scale tonight.
Yeah.
He is such a good shooter. He's so long and lanky and fast. Like his footwork is like a guard. His ball handling looks like a guard. He is everything that he was cracked up to be. And he's also very behind physically. And so that late in the game, he showed you everything you wanted to see. He is a fantastic shooter. Are we going with Theo or Teo?
It's Teo. It's spelled Theo, and Americans will say Theo because that's what it looks like, especially, if you watch The Cosby Show. But it's definitely Teo is the correct pronunciation.
I've heard it like half and half throughout training camp. I mean, my goodness, he was awesome.
Yeah.
I think he's going to get a ton of playing time this year, which is very exciting. There's a lot of buzz on Twitter, not just Thunder Twitter, but people around the league that are like, this guy, what a miss for a lot of those teams late in the first round. This guy looks like a backup point guard day one, and who knows what – I mean, he's just 19. it's going to be really fun to see how high he goes, because he looks so crafty and poised, very very much like Shai does. He gets his defender on his back in the lane, and then he just has his way. Those are 401 level classes in ball handling and playmaking in the lane. So all the Tony Parker comparisons, Tony Parker hype to do it in San Antonio, that was pretty cool.
Maledon is exciting. I knew when the Thunder picked him at 34, he was a steal, because I saw him projected to go anywhere from 20 to 25. That's where he was projected in all the mock drafts. So I knew it was a steal to get him. And apparently a year earlier, he was supposed to go higher. He was in the lottery at one point as far as like a year out projections. Now, Tony Parker said that his club in France, they didn't play him enough, just going to kind of give him 11 minutes. So I don't think he got as many minutes, and maybe had like an injury that dropped him a little bit. So that's great for the Thunder. If this is a guy that was projected at one time to go in the lottery, and this is what he does, he's been with the Thunder for like 2 days, man. And he goes out and leads the team in scoring, and the Thunder beat a team with LaMarcus Aldridge and DeRozan on it. I mean, this is crazy. I mean, I know it's preseason, but that's a nutty debut. So a lot to be excited about. And even with Poku's struggles in the first 3 quarters, like you said, he just showed off what skill he does have. He's going to be the youngest player in the NBA this season. You just want to see moments of like, oh, that's what Presti saw in him. Oh, there's that talent. And you saw that tonight. Even despite his struggles and this being his first game against NBA players ever, you still saw the talent shine through despite the struggles. And that's what you want to see. The weight gain is going to come. The experience is going to come. And all those things. You just want to see the talent. And that's what's going to be exciting about this Thunder team all season long, is seeing this developing young talent. Look, they're not going to get a lot of wins. The Thunder don't even really want to get wins. They want to get Cade Cunningham at number 1 in the draft next year is what they want to do. Now, are they going to try to lose? No, they're going to put players out, and when the players are playing, they're going to try to win. But they purposely trade away all their best players besides Shai and just kept the young guys so they could rebuild and get blue chip guys like Cade Cunningham or Evan Mobley or whoever they're going to get at the top of the draft next season. Watching these young guys flash talent is exciting, and seeing the Thunder start off a rebuild with Shai, Dort, Bazley, Maledon, and Poku is exciting. And I got to give shout outs to Frank Jackson, because like you said, he was a bucket. He scored 14 points tonight on 6 and 11 shooting. He just looked smooth. He looked like he knew how to play. He had 5 turnovers, but other than that, he looked like he belonged. And he was a guy that the Thunder have been high on for a few years. I want to see him get minutes with this team this season. He can play. I also got to give a shout out real quick to Diallo, because despite a lot of fans and analysts saying whatever about Diallo, we've doubted him before on this podcast. He scored 14 points tonight, got 10 rebounds, and he was active. The coaches are high on him. Other people may not be, but the coaches see something in him. And first came out, he produced. He kind of carried over his good play from the bubble into the preseason so far.
I think it was third quarter maybe he got like a putback, and on the broadcast they mentioned he had 10 points. And I was like, I haven't seen any other Diallo bucket. He gets points, and I'm like, how is he already up to 10 points? It's really insane. I was going to mention about playing for wins. I've heard it said, GMs tank, coaches, they're coaching to win.
Yes.
It feels like Presti has done just about everything he can to point you in the direction they want to go.
Yeah.
I'm curious what he still might do. I got 3 texts in the first quarter from fellow Thunder fans saying, what could Presti get for Muscala right now?
Right.
I mean, how many teams could use a backup big that could space the floor the way that he does? So we know this. Presti has a price. There's a price tag on all these guys. And if somebody calls with that price, they're gone. So I'll be curious to see, even as we lead up to the start of the season, could somebody come in and snag one of George Hill or Muscala or one of these guys?
Completely agreed. I'm excited about, to me, there's 5 guys. Like I said, Shai, Dort, Bazley, Maledon, and Poku. Those are the guys. I mean, yeah, I'm curious to see Frank Jackson. Can he stick Schofield, Roby, Diallo. I mean, there's some intrigue about those guys, but those 5 guys, the Thunder have an unfair advantage of starting a rebuild with those 5 guys potentially, and all the coming draft picks, both of their own, which should be really high, and of other teams like the Rockets and the Clippers and the Heat. I got to give a shout out real quick to George Hill. He played a really great game, and he showed why he's that vet that can probably get back something really nice in a trade, a potential maybe first rounder for George Hill. Roby actually had a nice game statistically. He had 11 rebounds, 7 points, 2 for 2 from 3, had a blocked shot. Again, fringe guy. He's young. Kick the tires, see what he has. That's what the Thunder are going to be doing with a lot of these young guys. You know, we haven't seen Jerome yet. We haven't seen Justin Jackson yet. But those guys, they're kicking the tires on them and just kind of seeing what they have. But for an initial debut of this Thunder team and kind of getting a sneak peek of what they're going to look like, it's pretty exciting. I will say, because Sam Presti does want to lose, he might have to accelerate the idea of maybe trading away Muscala if he's going to keep shooting like this, or George Hill, or Al Horford. You know, Al Horford I think is here because it's going to be hard to trade that contract until maybe next season. But Presti may have a little bit more work to do than he thought to ensure that he gets a top 3 pick, right?
They just play with such effort, and as we know, you catch teams where they're a little lax, and the team that plays with effort can sneak out a win against anybody.
Right. And again, to clarify, when they play really good playoff teams, they're going to lose. But when they're playing the other teams that are also not good, they may win too many of those games, and they may out tank the Thunder team. And that's why you talk about maybe making sure you trade away guys who are vets like George Hill, who may help winning just a little bit too much against the Knicks and the Pistons of the world.
Totally. There are going to be teams that are racing to the bottom, and it feels like this is the year of all years to do that in the Western Conference, because it feels like all 14 other Western Conference teams are plenty fine going for that 7 and 8 seed. But the Knicks, the Cavs, the Pistons, the teams that might not be like saying it as loudly as the Thunder that we're tanking, they might not be trying to tank, but they're just not very good.
Right.
Those teams, there are going to be times where the Thunder have a chance to win games, and it really could be so consequential to that draft pick. And
it could.
If you are following along, there's a guy that plays in Stillwater that is so special. He is of a profile that is so perfect to put next to Shai long term.
Yes.
If they were to, that is why you will hear us talk all year long. If they take a loss, that is a win. Everything should be geared towards maximizing their chance at the number 1 pick this coming year, and they've got a great chance to do that.
Fun debut, though. I'm cool with going 3-0 in the preseason and then 0-72 in the regular season. But all losses are by like 3 or 4 points, and they're all fun and competitive. That's a perfect season to me. It's going to be great. Fade for Cade.
That's the hashtag.
Yeah.
Get going.
Thank you, Ryan, for joining me as always. And thank you so much for listening to the Daily Thunder podcast.
Cheers.